I'm Tori, welcome to Bass Strategy. Today we have part 1 of a reel maintenance series that we're going to be doing. So in this video we're doing an introduction and going over just some basic tools that you're going to need. And also in the video description is going to be a good resource for where you can find parts, some of my recommendations for tools that you could use, and all that good stuff. So definitely check out the video description. It's going to be a great place to look for when you're ready to start doing your reel maintenance. I have been servicing my reels for quite a number of years now, and wanted to start doing videos to show you that it's not, it doesn't have to be a intimidating experience. So let's first go over some just basic tools that you're going to need to get the job done. So the first thing is some kind of surface. So a desk would be a good choice. I actually use a TV stand to put on my lap, just a little lap tray, because in that way I can have everything right in front of me, and I can even throw on a documentary or a movie while I'm doing the service to my reels. But whatever you're the most comfortable with, plan on maybe anywhere between 1 and 2 hours to service a reel, depending on your experience level. The more you do, the quicker you get at it, but plan on being in one spot for at least 1 or 2 hours. So the next thing you're going to need is a set of micro screwdrivers. There's all different kinds of screws that come in the reels. Some are a little bit bigger than others, but when you have a nice set of a micro set of screwdrivers, it works out really well. Must have this. The next thing I use is a set of small picks. This came in a set, and they have just different angles on each one, and they're nice to have. You don't use them a lot, but when you do use them, it's really useful. There's a lot of small parts that are hard to get a hold of with your fingers, and having these picks of different angles can help scoop those up and then keep them in a place where you can access them quickly. So the next tool is just a 10mm wrench. This is actually it's a very underused tool. It is really only for just one particular nut on a lot of the bait cast reels. It's a pretty standard to be 10mm size, so but for $3 it's worth it. So definitely pick up a 10mm wrench at your hardware store for just a few bucks. So the next two things you're going to need are some drag grease and some oil. So I use all Shimano reels, so I just use their drag grease and oil. Their reels actually come with a little bottle of oil, so every time I get a reel I get a new bottle, but you can also purchase them. Shimano is great with their parts. They have a whole section of their website where you can buy all parts and things like your grease and your oil. I know Quantum has their own grease and oil, so I'd recommend sticking with that. Or other than that, I'll link another recommendation below. If you don't use Quantum or Shimano, there are some other options out there. So the next thing you're going to need is some kind of container for all of the parts that you're removing from the reel. This is actually a small Plano tackle box, and what I like to have are just a few compartments. So as I'm taking apart the sections of the reel, I try to keep them all into one compartment. So I'm taking apart the gears, that goes into one slot. Some of the screws for the exterior frame go into my first slot, just so when I'm putting it back together again, it just makes it a little bit easier. I'm not digging around for all those little parts. The next thing you should have is your reel schematics. Your reel, when you purchased it, should have come with this. If you threw it out, you can get them online pretty easily. I recommend printing them out. Although, again, I know Shimano's great at keeping their schematics on the website, and they even have a magnifier tool, so you can just scroll over it and get a close-up, but I still prefer the printouts personally. If they have discontinued your reel and you can't find your schematics, you can always write to your reel manufacturer and they'll send you the schematics. Next thing you're going to need is some cotton swabs, and you're going to need a lot of them. So when you're getting ready to clean your reel, grab a handful and then grab another handful. So I clean my reels every year, and my rule of thumb is grab as many cotton swabs as I think I'm going to need and then double it, and that's probably as many as I'm going to need. So there are a couple different solvents you can use to clean and get all the old grease off your parts. A lot of guys like to use Simple Green. It's a really popular choice. I don't recall the last time I used Simple Green, but I do know it works well. I usually use some rubbing alcohol, and I'll dilute it with a little bit of distilled water. Just a little bit, because obviously rubbing alcohol is really strong, and I just want to expand the, because I can go through rubbing alcohol really quick, so just adding a little bit of distilled water kind of expands the life of that bottle that I purchased. I also recommend getting a small container to put your solvent in. So I have like a little ramekin. Reason being is you want to completely submerge all your parts, or a lot of your parts, especially the gears. And if you're using a bigger container, you're going to need a lot more of your fluid than a smaller container. So something like this works really well. I don't have to use so much of my Simple Green rubbing alcohol, and it completely submerges the parts. Last thing is just a few paper towels. So you're going to be doing a lot of polishing. I usually just keep a roll on hand next to me so I can always have them when I need them, and then I'm good to go. So that's it. So your upfront investment really is mostly your drag grease, oil, and then your small tools if you don't have them. And a lot of the other stuff are just household items, or maybe if you wanted to invest in a lap TV stand like I do, that works really great, or just a desk. So really low initial investment, and then for many years you're going to be able to service your reels and save a lot of money. And also, servicing your reels is a great thing to do over the off season in the winter time, and it really expands the life of your reel. So starting next week, we're going to start doing bait cast reels, and then we're going to do spinning reels. I have a reel that's going to need a routine bearing replacement. It's just a really easy thing to do that expands the life of the reel many years. So there is no reason why you shouldn't be getting at least 10 years out of a good quality reel, and doing this routine maintenance is a good way to make sure you get the most out of the reel during that time frame. I do want to point out that there are different levels of maintenance. Basic maintenance would just be taking apart the reel, cleaning everything out, removing the gears and the drag system, and reinstalling them. But I am going to be going a little bit deeper than that. So in the video description on each video, I'm going to put timestamps for you to look at. So if you're not comfortable going into more advanced cleaning, you can stop and then fast forward to the part where we're reassembling the reel at the basic maintenance level. Alright guys, I hope you liked this video. If you did, give me that like and consider subscribing to the channel. We're going to be doing bait cast reels first next week. I'll see you then.